Welcome everyone to episode 15 of the draft. I am joined by Tino, Patino, and Phil Eastman. As always, we're going to break down our picks for the Cracker Barrel 400 at Nashville Super Speedway, which is not really a super speedway, but we're going to break that down tonight, make our picks, do a little, track preview, race preview for you. We're coming off the Coke 600, fellas, a race that got over a 90% yes on the Jeff Gluck poll. I really enjoyed the race, thought it was great. I loved how the fastest cars did make their way to the front eventually, battle for the lead, things like that. I had a comment. I made the mistake of commenting on his poll that just a couple things that I thought drove the yes votes up. Some people didn't like that. I don't know. I just thought they were pretty factual. But how'd you guys like it? How'd you do betting? I was a little bit down, which hurt having Chastain number one in the practice model. And even though they're going to a backup car, we all talked in Discord about it. It was like, yeah, that doesn't matter. Somehow I had so much to drink that day, didn't bet it, and here we are. So, Phil, I'll start with you. How'd you like it? Fun race. How'd you do?
Yeah, I thought it was a fun race. I know one of your factors into the 90% was drinking all day. That's what I was doing. And so I had a blast watching it. Did well from a betting standpoint on the Coke 600. I threw Ross as a race day ad for a top 10 at plus money for my full tank betting card. And then personally, kind of after I put my card out there, I just sprinkle a little bit on him outright, 35 to 1,
Nice.
which was fantastic. I mean, it was cool to see a driver that we knew was fast in practice start last and take advantage of all 600 laps and make his way to the front. So that was really cool. And yeah, had a good day. Didn't do as well on the other two races, but I think that's why I have a NASCAR show and not the other two. So good time all around.
All right, cool. Yeah, dude, going into the Indy 500, I was in for a little over 10 units. I was like, what happened? Like, luckily squeezed out a little over 11. So I was like barely up, which was fine. But my dad goes, "Who are we rooting for here?" He texts me. I go, "Rooting for the car number under 9.5 to win the race." And he goes, and then and this is during warm-ups when two of them wreck out. I was like, dude, this is not good. And then my dad goes, like, it's halfway through the race. He texts me, he goes, "Number 10's gonna win. That sucks for you," or whatever. I was like, yeah, it's looking that way.
Before we move on to Tino for his intro here, I just want to say I was real big on the cross sport parlay, so I could have something like throughout the day with me and my buddies I was hanging out with. And we hit the first one. It was an easy one, but we had a head-to-head in Indy, and I had Dixon over McLaughlin. Okay, McLaughlin was the guy, if you watched, that wrecked his car on the pace lap and was out of the race.
I had that same bet.
Yes. So I'm like, we're at the bar. That happened. And we're like, let's fucking go. Like, we can watch this race stress free. All we need is Chevy. Like, this is great. And then we come to realize after we get service that they voided the bet because he didn't actually start the race. So we still hit the parlay, but it just took that leg away because Chevy was our last leg. But still, like, we were like so fired up for that moment. But anyway, that sucked. But go ahead. Funny.
Tino, how'd you do? How'd you like the race?
Awesome race. I was there in person. Like, it made me feel like that I was watching one of not the best like Coca-Cola 600s, but like in person, one of the best races this year. And like seeing the battles for the lead was the most impressive part to me, right? Because like William Byron was putting on a masterclass, but Denny Hamlin would catch him, he would pass him, and then he would pass him back, right? So it's like, to me, when you have a driver out there in clean air, they just run away with it. To me, this Coca-Cola 600 didn't feel like that. I feel like if Kyle Larson was still in the race, he would have been up there battling with William Byron the whole time, just like how Denny Hamlin was. And that was in the later going too. So didn't like Ross Chastain winning. I was happy for Phil. So glad that Phil had him. That made me able to feel better. But overall, I had Willie B. That was my top choice. Giving him out here, Sirius XM, like that was just, I thought it was his time to win it. And he looked great doing so. But getting passed like that by Chastain hurt. Also want to throw out on Sirius, right? I was doing some stats, doing some research. I put out there only 2 times in the last 10 years has a winner started outside the top 10. And that was like 20th, 22nd. Ross Chastain starts dead last, wins it. Respect to him. Respect to him. Great race.
Consolation prize, Tino.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Away with it.
He does it again. Birthday boy.
Your 7th win to our 3 wins. Us little guys with 3 wins over here. You was 7. I mean, crazy, right? And then I go with Hocevar again. Seemed like such a great pick.
It did. It was there.
Buries me. Yeah. But again, though, this wild card round, you're crushing it.
Thank you. And
yeah,
well, that's honestly, I said it last week too. I'm gonna put the clip out there for everyone too. I've been thinking about it because I said at the end, like, it was the Chase Elliott really over the Alex Bowman, right? And don't get me wrong, like, Bowman was there. Bowman, like, he had the speed, but something happens anytime I think about, like, betting on him top 10, like, oh, that's a lot because of his average finish. At least this year, it's coming to bite me. So I knew Chase Elliott hopefully could be that consistent guy. He wasn't anything that could, like, win the race, but, like, from 15th to 10th all day, that's, I think, what made it. And I will say, Hocevar deserved to, like, finish top 3 for sure. So I think that was a good move on you. But McDowell, that's the type of race I thought he would have. The veteran sneak in a top 7 to 15 finish. Yeah. I'll take it. So that was really good.
It's a long race. You picked McDowell for all those reasons. I picked him all those weeks and just continue to bury myself. But all right, let's get to this week then. Cracker Barrel 400 at Nashville. I'll bring up a chart a little later on that'll kind of show you some of those finishes that you're talking about, Bowman, and there's some other guys too, where it's just kind of dreadful compared to the speed they're bringing. We're going to Nashville. They call it a super speedway. It's not one, but could still be a fun race. It's a night race. People always love night races. That's kind of cool. And we have a full weekend. We got trucks, Xfinity, and Cup going again. So that's always fun as well. 3. Is Xfinity a night race too? I didn't even see. I thought it was later than usual. But truck race, obviously at night, Friday night, Sunday night Cup race, pretty cool. Phil, why don't we do a quick race preview here and tell everyone what we're going to see here?
Yeah, so Nashville is a newer track to the circuit. It's 1.33 mile concrete track. This is a unique racetrack. No real comps. If you want to, you can throw Dover in the mix with the high-speed mile and a halves that we've seen so far this year. They're on the intermediate package. Stages are 90-lap stage 1, 95-lap stage 2, and 115 in stage 3 for a total of 300 for this Cracker Barrel 400. They've only been here 4 times. 3 of those in the next-gen car. The winner started on the pole once. That was in 2023. Started inside the top 5 3 of the 4 times. And last year, we had a driver start outside the top 20 and win the race. That was Logano from 26th. Last year's race was an absolute shit show. There's a great chart out there on iFantasy Race that shows where they were running with 5 to go in regulation and then where they finished, because they went like 31 laps into overtime, if you remember. So pretty interesting there. See if that happens again. But 3 Chevy wins, 1 Ford win in the 4 races. And something else to note, they're running a new tire combination from where they were last year, but the teams have run the same tire combination on the mile and a halves that we've been to in this intermediate package so far in 2025. So there shouldn't be a surprise for the teams, just different than what we saw last year. So yeah, that's what we got here for Nashville coming up.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because this track is unlike any other, really. Like, they use the intermediate package, but you're going slower than those 1.5s. It's not quite 1.5. And then you're going to use the same tires, but now you're on concrete. And then now you're going to run this one at night. So much different than years past when, it's a month later and they're in the, crazy heat during the day. So I think we'll have looking at the weather, there's a lot of sunlight for practice and qualifying. And then, that's not going to be the case for the race Sunday night, but still be like mid 70s and drop into the 60s halfway through the race. So we'll see what happens. I kind of like that because just like Charlotte, I think everyone loved it. Like, brought some new players into the mix by the end of the race. But it was still pretty predictable as far as practice went. So I think we'll have a good shot here. Tino, you got anything you want to add there? You excited for this one? I think this is going to be a fun race because of how this qualifying order looks. There's a lot of studs going out late. So we could get some battles, even if it's only just kind of early on, but it could be pretty intense quick.
I agree. I think one thing that I noticed last year, because I actually watched this race back when I was driving back from Charlotte. I turned this on in the car, listened to it. So it was cool to experience that, because there were, at least last year specifically, the Toyotas dominated. It was like Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, like all within that top 3 to 5 group. And yes, we had the 5 overtimes, which, it was it was what it was. But to now, preview this race, I feel like the Toyotas, who specifically Tyler Reddick, who we're about to get to in this first segment here, he was fast there, and he was fast last weekend at Charlotte, which was speed they haven't brought this year to the mile and a half. So I thought that was interesting to note the comparison.
All right, that's a perfect segue into 2311. So I'll start this. If you haven't watched the show before, we're going to make one pick from all the teams you see on the left there, and then we'll pick one big 3 pick, which is one pick from Hendrick, Joe Gibbs, or Penske. We'll do a best of the rest, which is one pick from a team that's not listed on the left there, and then we'll make a wild card pick to round it out at the end. That can be from any team that we've mentioned. So let's jump right into it. We'll talk about 2311 here, and you brought up Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, I'll just start right off with it. He's going to be my pick here. And, man, it's been kind of tough. I'll pull up this chart here, which I have. It's basically combined. It's basically a combined true performance and speed and versus their average finish. So you can see the guys like Alex Bowman, we mentioned him earlier, super fast, all the way, almost all the way over to the right on this chart where it's your speed and performance. But he's down the list here as far as the finish goes. And so if you look at Tyler Reddick and you compare him to Bubba Wallace, and I mean, good Lord, Riley Herbst, and I mean, they got Corey Heim this week. I was like tempted to pick him. Like, these guys can't finish right now to save their life, so maybe I'll just pick Heim. But give me Tyler Reddick here. I don't think it's really close, particularly close at all. When you look at this, he started 6th last year, finished 3rd, ran up front all day, like you said, finished stage 1 and 3rd, stage 2 and 2nd. Regardless of what happened, he was always there, even with the weird, fuel mileage at the end. He's got the 3rd best incident adjusted speed in this package, but he only has the 2 top 10s. So you just got to hope that he can find the finish like he did last year. But I can't go away from just how much better he is than his teammates right now. So give me Reddick. Tino, we're going to jump to you.
Perfect, because give me Tyler Reddick as well, please. I mean, him running up front is important to me, but also the fact that betting-wise, he's sitting at 10-1 right now, and he's going to probably qualifying inside the top 5, I would imagine. The speed that they showed last weekend at Charlotte, and I alluded to this like in the intro, but I was taken off guard because we've been following them. That's one of their best tracks for 2311 is the intermediate styles. Kansas specifically, Texas as well. They didn't do that well there. Tyler Reddick was fast at Texas, but didn't end up, finish in top 5. So my point is he wasn't a contender for the win like they have been. I think at this track they will be because of the speed they showed at Charlotte, which was unlike anything else they've had this year. So I think they made the adjustments. Tyler Reddick is the pick.
All right, perfect. So we're on board there. Phil, who you got here? You surprising the world or Tyler Reddick across the board?
Well, got a couple things to say here. So first of all, down by 4 to Tino, got to switch things up. I'm throwing on the lucky Ryan Blaney shirt. If you haven't noticed, I'm here for business.
Nice.
Second, my birthday, my kids got me. It's probably the only one ever made. It says best dad ever notebook. But I changed it to best draft ever. So I'm ready to fucking go. And you know what? I'm looking to switch things up. I stared at Reddick, and his numbers at Nashville don't impress me. His numbers on mile and a halves do. I've stared at Wallace and I wanted Wallace, but then his mile and a half numbers this year, he's absolute dog shit. So this might completely torpedo my whole thing, but I'm going with Corey Heim.
Yeah, Heim time.
It's Heim time, dude. I'm going with Corey Heim. 13th at Kansas. He's going to get that extra track time. And, we know that he's a favorite to win the truck race on Friday night. So why not throw in caution to win? I'm kind of sick of being the same. And here's one way where I can just be totally different. If these other guys do struggle, which looking at the finishing positions of these drivers, like Bubba Wallace is who I was looking at, honestly. 12th, 15th, 7th. But Reddick had better speed, and Wallace this season is just a different dude. So anybody can have trouble at this racetrack. I feel like Heim's just having fun on a track that he's going to know more than these other guys, how it's running this year. So give me Corey Heim, try to switch things up.
It's only one race, but if you look on the top of this chart here, he's up there near the top left. He's higher than everyone in that average finish. So it's only one race, but
the Kansas, but it's a comparable racetrack, like in a way.
Yeah.
I'm not huge into the mile and a half, but you got to take what you can get. It's 3 races at Nashville and the 2025 mile and a half. So it's something.
Yeah, I love it, man. And we have all these teams where we're like, oh, this is an obvious pick, and we all just go that way, and we all tank. Most of the picks, I feel like, where we're all on the same guy, like, fail. But it's mostly like we're taking Bryce.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Really, yeah, it's tough.
It's because if you don't, like, if you don't take Larson, he could dog walk the field, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I feel like less confident that Tyler Reddick could go out and dog walk the field this weekend. So I feel like this is a team where I could take a shot here. I would never touch him.
He did race here, last year in the Cup Series. So there's a little bit of experience there as well. So who knows? And like you said, they'll be racing Friday night. They'll probably be way out front. I think the truck race last year, Eckes led all 150 laps.
Eckes dominated. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to front row. Phil, we'll stick with you. You were just different on that last pick, so it doesn't really matter where you go here.
Yeah.
Who do you got for front row?
Yeah, I'm going Noah Gragson. It's for a couple different reasons. So Gragson at this racetrack, 26th and then 10th last year. So top 10 after all the chaos. Good for him. Todd Gilliland, his speed just not there at Nashville. Zane Smith, only one race at Nashville, horrible in speed, survives to finish second. I'm kind of discrediting him there a little bit. Like he was a true benefactor of all that mess. So then you look at, how they're doing this year and Gragson, just raw speed compared to his teammates, much better on the intermediate package. So an 8th in speed rating at Charlotte just a week ago. So going with Gragson here in this shitbox matchup.
Yep, I am right with you there with Gragson. Was on him last week. Felt good about that pick. And looking back at our draft, just had some that really tanked. But all the reasons you said, Zane, especially, I dug into that a little bit more. It's like, man, what a lucky, stupid finish last year. And he had an average running position of like 28 or 29 in that race, finished second. That just shows you how big of a joke all those overtimes were at the end of that race. All you needed was enough gas, and that's it. So Gragson, on the other hand, he ran over 40% of his laps inside the top 15 in that race. Finished stage 2 and 10th. So he was just having a much better race all around. Much better than both these guys in this package this year on this track type. So, yeah, give me Gragson. Tino, who do you got here for front row?
I wasn't too mad at Zane Smith and how he ran last week at Charlotte. And I think that point to me was like, okay, because Noah Gragson was better and he qualified ahead of him. And it was like, okay, is he going to just drop back like, you potentially see out of a front row car like that? But he just didn't. He stayed running inside the top 10 all day. I thought that was nice. And I think if I don't respect that and pick him here, I'd look dumb. So Noah Gragson for me as well.
Noah Gragson. All right. All right. Let's head to Hendrick. Now I think it could get a little different here. I'm going to be chalk, so I'll just go first. I'm Kyle Larson right here. I just can't get away from him. I don't really care that he's going out early now after what happened last week because he's one guy who can pass people and move his way up through the field. In this package in 2025, he's first in our true performance scores and win the race, second in incident adjusted speed, first in sure average running position. I'm not worried if he qualifies anywhere. It doesn't really matter to me. I think he's going to be fast. He's good here. He's won here before. So give me Kyle Larson. There's not much else to say about that. Tino, jumping right back to you. Who do you got for HMS?
Mine is Kyle Larson because of everything you said, what he went through last weekend at Charlotte and Indy. I mean, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Like I said I was one of the people, or at least in our last show, I was like made it a point to say if he does bad at Indy, he's gonna dominate the field at Charlotte. It looked like he was going to early on, like within the first few laps, and he just didn't. And I think that the fact that he didn't, he can use this as momentum this week. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll take being wrong because he also has a 5.7 average finish, which is the best out of all drivers at this track. So it makes sense to take Kyle Larson.
He's a total stud. Phil, who you got here?
Yeah, it's Larson. I took Larson plus 550 on MGM. That is better value than your Sims have it at 467, I believe it is, Ryan. So I felt like I was stealing something there. He's the only driver to finish in the top 10 in all 3 next gen starts here at Nashville. And by the way, the other race that wasn't part of the next gen, he won. So very good at Nashville, clearly. And let me bring this stat up again. I went on the rant a few weeks back. When he finishes outside the top 30, how does he bounce back? His last next gen career, he's very, very good, multiple wins. He's got 2 starts so far, or 2 finishes where he's finished outside the top 30. One bounce back was a 3rd place finish. And then another, he finished 37th and bounced back for a win. Well, where did he finish last week at Charlotte? I'll help you out. 37th. So this is just a driver. And then you add the Indy shit in there as well. This guy, I took him outright because I truly believe he could go lead 268 laps and win. So that's where we're at. I got to go Larson. I can't be different here. And this is his week, I think.
All right, awesome. All right, so we'll head into it, guys. So we give out one bet there. Let's head to Joe Gibbs, and I'll start out here because I have a bet on this fella named Denny Hamlin. You can find his top 5s, or as you could before the show, at even money or up to plus 125 at some books. I would shop it around as hard as you can and take anything over even money. He's been bringing the speed lately in this package. Gets to go off 30th in qualifying. Shout out to Adam Meyer in the Win the Race Discord. He's always on with the Nuke the House boys, betting live, but always brings good data into the Discord. And we always talk about this advantage of going off late in qualifying in this package in 2025. The pole winner goes off 30th in qualifying on average. So it is happening. And guess where Denny goes off? 30th. So, playing that same numbers game like you just said. Guess where Larson just finished? Same type of thing here. But Denny's finished 6th, 3rd, and should have won last year. And he's never finished a stage here in the Gen 7 era outside the top 5. So you're betting him to finish top 5. His worst was last year, but I don't really count that. Dude's unbelievable here, and I would shop this top 5. I would take it. And if he does qualify up front, I'm fine if this number dips a little bit. Maybe you take a JGR bet. Maybe you take Hamlin, whatever, to win. But, I think we're obviously going to talk more about Joe Gibbs right now. I'm curious to see who you guys are picking. And then we have our big 3 section too. So we'll see if they come up again. I know Phil already mentioned they dominated last year. So, all right, Phil, let's head right into you then. Who do you have for your JGR pick?
Yeah, I think I was going back and forth. I think just to keep things, top board here, I'm going to go with Hamlin. I may sprinkle somebody else from JGR later in this episode, but for those reasons, I'm taking, so on my podcast, I took Toyota as my manufacturer pick this week, and Denny Hamlin's a major factor there. They're plus 170 as a team, as a manufacturer on Caesars when I took it earlier. And he's just a monster here. You mentioned his starting position for qualifying. I don't even know if he needs it, guys. Like, his starting average in 3 races is 3.3. Like, this guy, you could send him off 3rd. I think he would still qualify, top 5. So I think Denny is definitely one to watch. He's got to be hungry for the way things played out last year. He's got to be happy looking up, seeing this race on the schedule. And what was that top 5 bet you mentioned for him?
He was even on ESPN. He was up to plus 125 some other places, and
All
then
right.
some places have him, like minus 150, minus 140.
Yeah.
Whereas, I think that's like where he should be. But
Yeah, I'm in to that 100%.
yeah, I would shop it everywhere and just take the best one. He has won the pole here 2 out of the 3 races in the Gen 7 car, and when he didn't and Chastain won the pole, 2 JGR cars still made the final round of qualifying. So, those guys, Briscoe, Bell, Hamlin are all going off 30th or later. So that's why I thought, the start of this race I think is going to be a lot of fun. You're going to
Yeah.
have all these guys up there, and then you're going to have Larson. Maybe he qualifies up front anyways. Maybe it doesn't matter, but I think only 2 drivers all year in this package have gone out where he's gone out and qualified in the top 5. So I think Larson's gonna have to fight a little bit either way. But Tino, go ahead. Who do you got for JGR?
All right, so here's a little bit of a twist for you guys. I do have Denny Hamlin, but he's going to be my big 3 pick. So if you want to throw him there, because everything you guys said, totally agree with. I wouldn't have said anything differently. So you put him there for me. Thank you. And then now for my Joe Gibbs pick, it's got to be Christopher Bell. Last year, led 131 laps, winning both stage 1 and stage 2. He was fast at this track the year prior as well. But I feel like now I'm tipping my cap to Hamlin. Last week I said I thought they were going to be in a cold streak sometimes when he's had, poorly executed races or mechanical issues that last a few weeks in recent history. Didn't happen this time. He turned it around at Charlotte. It's a good race by him. Although, to be fair, he didn't get enough fuel in the car, and then ultimately it was a bad finish. So, hey, maybe I was onto something. But my point is, I think he rebounds nicely for Denny Hamlin here. Christopher Bell last year was the guy that had it in the bag, I thought. I think if Christopher Bell doesn't get into an accident late in stage 3 last year after he refueled, took more tires than other drivers on a restart, I think he wins that race over Denny Hamlin. So, like both drivers, but I'd prefer Bell over Hamlin, like I showed there.
Yeah, and I'm sorry we are jumping ahead here too, but you mentioned him. There's no reason to just go back and talk about him again. But that was my big 3 pick was Christopher Bell. Something like just all the things you said. I don't want to overthink this. This dude is awesome qualifying in this package in the Gen 7 era, going off wicked late for qualifying. I think he's going to qualify up front. I think he could lead a ton of laps again, potentially win the race. He is tied for the most top 10s in this package with 5 top 10s of the 7 races. Only Larson and Chastain have as many. So, he's a finisher too. So now you put him up front, let him start there and let him finish. Why can't this dude win? So give me Christopher Bell for my big 3. We're going to jump back up to Penske now with the man who's wearing the Ryan Blaney shirt. Phil, why don't you lead us off for Penske?
It's Ryan Blaney for me, and it's half the reason why I wore the shirt. I got him at 9-1 on MGM, and it's not one of those races. I like to be a guy who just rips off stats to try to sound smart, right? I've done that on the show a million times, but there's not a ton of stats with Blaney that like you can just rip off here. To me, this just has a feel of a potential good week. Like he's got finishes of 3rd and 6th at this racetrack. He has a 36 mixed in there, but 8th in driver rating, 7th in speed. Just bad luck this season, I think, is kind of making it so that the books are giving us like 9-1. If he was getting the finishes that he deserves this year, we wouldn't see 9-1 for a driver who's finished top 6 twice out of 3 races in the next gen. So he's got 2 top 5s, by the way, on the mile and a halfs this season. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just saying, we've brought this up so many times and I forget because now you mentioned it earlier with Larson, but I thought the whole thing started with Blaney with coming off a bad finish. Wasn't that a Blaney thing that we talked about instead of
I've
Larson?
definitely mentioned it, but I don't know if it's. I feel like this season he's just continuously having bad finishes.
I brought some
not coming back.
There's some examples this year though.
Because
that's why. So that's who I thought it originally was. So when I did my research on, I'm picking Ryan Blaney. But when I did this research on Ryan Blaney here, I thought the whole thing was Blaney's the guy when he comes off a bad finish. I know this year has been a little different. Was so much bad luck, but
right.
Take this for instance. So I wrote it down here. So he has an accident and finishes 35th at Vegas. He comes out, absolutely spanks everyone at Homestead, but his engine blows. So that's kind of a bounce back there. Wrecks out at Dega, comes back, finishes third at Texas. Wrecks out at Charlotte. Is it Blaney time? Phil wears the shirt. I saw the shirt. I was like, oh my God, I wrote this down. And he's wearing the shirt tonight. So it's like, man, I was all over like JGR. I like them. I like a couple sleepers in this race too. But now, oh man, Blaney.
It's the
It's
stuff
tough.
to me with Blaney this week. It's the stuff that's not like, quantifiable. Like you can't really put your finger on it, but it seems like when all these other guys potentially have issues or whatever, if there's going to be somebody from the four camp, I search very hard to take like more of a longer shot for my pod for a Ford driver. I don't want Logano. Last year was like such a Logano race. Fuck that. If this race is not going to go to hell in a handbasket, it's going to be run normally. I think Blaney has the potential to actually be there and win the race without the craziness. And it would be fitting. That's the stuff that I'm trying to say here. It feels like if he were to win on Sunday night, it's like there it is. Like finally, it's been
It'll
here.
be when you go back off him. You're like, oh, he wrecked again. I can't.
Exactly. And it feels like this is a race. It feels like this is a race where people could jump off of them because of Charlotte and just things not going right. So this is
sometimes you don't need the hard hitting. Yeah, like sometimes you don't need the hard hitting data and analysis. You just put your shirt on and win money. That's what you do.
Well, to be honest, I'm putting this on for me to win the draft. Now, if Blaney goes out and wins the race, that's just a bonus. But he has done it many times, as I said.
Yeah, the draft is way more important than money.
The draft
Tino,
is everything.
What do you got here? Who do you got for Penske?
Ryan Blaney. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did have Blaney written down, and then once I saw you guys were going Blaney, I was like, oh, do I switch just to sort of be different in this area? Because at least you can make a case for Logano. Fourth in terms of average finish here with a 9.7. Obviously won the race last year, but that was, all the overtimes, I think was the factor of that. Probably was. But another thing that I want to know with Logano, while I am picking Ryan Blaney just to make a case for him, is started in third, second, and fourth, 26 last year. But all those years prior, if he were to get a good starting position in this one, I feel like then he can keep that track position. But I'd rather go Ryan Blaney with everything you guys said. I was thinking I was on him last week as well.
Late.
Yeah.
So he's going out late. He could qualify well. One of the things that kept me off though is like when he did qualify well, he wasn't even good here. I don't think in the races he qualified well. I don't think he finished a stage inside the top 10. So that was one thing that kind of threw me off on Logano. But yeah, I agree with what you said. So big three though, we got to get back to Phil. We got to round out this big three. Who do you got here, Phil?
Yeah, man.
Oh, way behind.
I'm trying to again be different. I had Bell written down with somebody else. I'm not going to take Bell because you guys did, and whether that hurts me or not, we'll see. I will mention this. I like Bell head-to-head versus Byron this week. I won't get into too many specifics there, but minus 120 is where I had him on. Where did I see that? That was on DraftKings. But I like that matchup, so I'm not taking Byron. I'm going to go with a driver who later in this episode, I'm going to take. I have a head-to-head matchup that I took the other guy, but I'm saving him for later. But it's a close matchup. So I'm taking Chase Elliott as my big three. This is my thought process for Chase. I can't afford to give up spots. And Chase, for whatever reason, he's going to be in that at a bare minimum, like 9 to 13 range, 9 to 15 range. And I can't afford a guy to finish 38th, right? I need a guy to just have a good points day. So Chase Elliott, on top of that, he's got finishes of 1st, 4th, and 18th. He got, kind of jacked up last year. I'd imagine where he finished 18th. Let's see where he was running. He was running 12th, 5 laps to go. So jostled back a little bit in that race. But his overall speed rating at Nashville, 4th, 5th, 9th. I mean, the guys in the chat are mentioning it. Kyle and Brian are saying like concrete. There's something to it there with this driver, and it's the consistency. I'm taking him for the
Yeah, he
consistency.
always finds a way.
He finds a way to have a good points day. He's somehow the most popular driver in NASCAR, and he's the most boring guy.
Yeah.
And I need boring. Give me boring.
Yeah.
If you go to
Did it at Charlotte too.
go to like Todd Furman's Twitter account, he posted something last week, or maybe it was earlier this week, and it was like, here's the big teams. It was basically our big three. Here's all their drivers, and then how all their stats of like top 3 percentage, top 5 percentage, all that stuff. And it's like, what do you notice here? And when you look at it, you're like, it had average finish on there. You look at Chase Elliott's average finish, and then you look at like all his really great performances. They're just not there. He just shows up there at the end of the race and he's ready to finish well. It's really weird in this package because like the speed hasn't been there, but somehow he's there at the end. That takes talent. I mean, good crew chief, good pit crew.
It's kind of like a good baseball team. Like it's a long season. So just, go out, do your job, and then, put yourself in a good position for later in the year. Like he's not flashy. He's not somebody that's, racking up a lot of playoff points, but he's getting the job done enough where they can maybe rally towards the end of the year. So Chase, I need him for some points. And if he goes out and wins the damn thing, even better.
There you go.
Yeah. Like who would you rather have? Well, I guess so that's not a good comparison. I just pull up the points just because I was curious. Like, would you rather have Chase Elliott or Tyler Reddick? Because it feels like Reddick's always up there, but he's always messing up. But like they're fourth and fifth in points. So
I would take Chase. I would take Chase in that head-to-head matchup. Like I found it really, really tough to find head-to-head matchups that I liked. Kyle said he has the 9 plus 120 over the 1. I'm going to talk about that matchup later because I have the 1 in a different sports book. But if you gave me Chase versus Reddick, I would take Chase in that, and I would feel confident in that.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's got 3 top 5s this year. But like, Hamlin's behind him with 5, Blaney's behind him with 5, Briscoe behind him with 5. Yeah, he's just kind of like steadily moving along. But that's a great pick, though. It's a great big 3 pick. Let's go to RFK. I'm going to take Ryan Preece again, just to be, I guess, a little different, or I don't even know if it will be anymore. We might have just broken the mold now, and now everyone's on it. But although Keselowski was strong last week, I just really want to stick with Preece here. He's going out even later in qualifying this week, and I talked about how important that was, and we now have data to back that up. His finish last year, I don't care. It was luck. He finished 4th. That had nothing to do with where he was running all race, which was not 4th. But this season, he does have the best true average running position of any RFK driver in this package. So it's not like it's coming out of nowhere. Buescher does have a better average finish, but I like where Preece is running, and I like where I think he's going to run this week if he qualifies, where I think he's going to qualify. So give me Preece. I think he's running a lot of smart races. I'll take that. Tino, let's jump to you.
Yeah, Ryan Preece is my guy here. I was surprised, but I know we all were in on Brad Keselowski last week, expecting him to have the speed he did have at Charlotte last year. And then he qualifies, 30th or something back there, which I shouldn't have been that surprised about, but I was, considering, I thought he would have higher track position to start things off. He did finish top 5 within the Coca-Cola 600, finishing 5th, but to me, it was like he wasn't really up there. Like, it was a climb back to get there. He had to, he avoided the wreck with Blaney. A couple things had to happen. Whereas Ryan Preece was able to hold his track position that whole race pretty much. I was very surprised to see that. Not with any disrespect to him, but just in that type of setting with how fast they have been on mile and halves, it has been that consistent. Finished 9th there. And then in this race specifically, like you said, we could discredit his 4th place finish here last year, but then 16th after starting 25th in 2023. That's why I'm on him for sure.
Yeah, nice. Phil, who you got here for RFK?
Yeah, I'm going Preece. I have my money where my mouth is this week. I have him. Well, actually, now he's available on FanDuel plus 210 for a top 10. And I agree with everything you said, Ryan, about throwing out last year. It's enticing if you want to try to talk about why he's good. You could throw that 4th place finish in there, but that's not worth it to me. It's what he's done this year. 3 top 10s out of the 4 races that we've seen. And he really has been the best driver in his stable. So the starting position, I can't be different here. I really like Ryan Preece. Outside of the draft game that we're playing, I like Preece for sure.
Cool. Yeah, he said they interviewed him recently too about adding horsepower to the cars. He did not. What's interesting is I just read that interview, and he said, it'd be great, but he said like even like 750 is not going to do much. But then I read today that they might even go to 750 during this season. So hey, he can say it's not much, and maybe it's not, but like it can't get any worse. So like I hope they do that. But all right, Tino, let's stick with you. Go to Spire here. You lead it off for Spire.
Spire's going to be Carson Hocevar because of the bounce back week. And I think the extra set of miles, if you want to call it that, from going from an average of 400 to 600, RC in the longest race of the year at Charlotte, helped Michael McDowell get that top 10. So you cut that down. Hocevar was the fastest car. If this race at Charlotte last weekend was 400 miles, he finishes what? Top 5? Top 10? Because his engine doesn't blow up. So I think with that speed that he's showing, and maybe, a get back game here, I like Hocevar.
I've been on him all year. We're gonna have to get different here. I know that I'm gonna get different from you, but like we might not be different by much. But I have to go Carson Hocevar here. I can't get away from it because as soon as I do, it's like we talked about Blaney. He's finally gonna get that finish. Dude's been crazy fast all year. He's one of 9 drivers who have run over 50% of their laps inside the top 10. So he's in this elite top 10 group of drivers in this track type, in this package. Someday he's going to get a great finish. Someday he's going to win a race because he's been up there battling for the leads multiple times. Where else too is it? Wasn't it at like Atlanta he was up there like battling for the lead? It's everywhere. Not saying that, I know Atlanta is
Homestead he was top 10 as well. I feel like,
yeah, it's like
he had an issue.
It seems like a win's coming for him this year. I don't know if it'll be on an intermediate. I don't know if it'll be drafting and like luck involved, but who knows? I think he's going to win. I don't want to not play it. Give me Carson Hocevar. I'm going to have to get different here. I know I'm going to be different, I think, in the wild card. But curious. I think best of rest is going to be pretty chalky. So, Phil, who do you got here for Spire?
Yeah, I've had Hocevar, man. He's got a truck win 2023 where, he led 40 laps, outbattled Zane Smith, Corey Heim, Nick Sanchez. Like it was just like, big dog city in the top 5 and he survived that one. So that sticks out in my mind. I know it's apples to oranges, but that in addition to everything you guys are saying about, he's close as a young driver. He's fast. The team's there. Can they put a full race together? I would not be shocked if he were to win a race. And, Nashville to me seems like one of those races where it could be kind of a sneaky situation from a race winner. So we're going to go with Hocevar and unfortunately make it, chalk across the board there.
All right. I might actually just get real funky here because I have a bet on who I think is going to be chalky here for best of the rest. So I'm going to let you boys handle best of the rest first. And if it's what I think it is, then I'll probably use my best of the rest here and go different for my wild card. But Phil, who do you have for your best of the rest?
I've got 2 names written down, one for best of the rest, one for wild card. Both of these picks are coming from non-Big 3 teams.
Okay, so that's how mine is too. So
me too.
But you and I can afford to be the same. Tino and I cannot.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'll keep it simple with who we're all probably thinking about. It's Ross Chastain for my best of the rest. He was one that I mentioned earlier. I have Ross over Chase Elliott on Caesars -120. I know Kyle said that he got Chase on the other side of that. There's one book that has Chase as a huge underdog, and I agree with that. But taking that side of it just because of the price, I get it. But Chastain is, first of all, he's got momentum on his side, man. And it's just like, Yeah, Team 54 just said it. Obvious pick of this draft. What we saw last week is unbelievable. And then at Nashville, he's second in driver rating, 110. Like, there's only a few drivers with 100 plus driver rating. He's got 110, like pretty unbelievable. He won the race in 2023, as we mentioned earlier. So this is a driver that I don't think we're shocking a lot of people. He's got, good speed on average. He's got good finishes here on average, a fifth, a first. And then last year he got bit by that bullshit that happened towards the end. I'm trying to find his number. He was running second with 5 laps to go. So he ended up finishing 33rd. So you mentioned Denny should have won that race. Well, Ross should have finished second, and that would have put his finishes as a whole, like all 3 in the top 5. So Ross Chastain, I don't think I need to make a huge case for him. And the best of the rest, I would imagine you guys are thinking a similar situation here.
Tino?
Yeah,
Ross?
I mean, I am on Ross, and for all the things Phil said was great, and I'm that's what I would have said as well if I was talking about it. But I think another thing that I wanted to throw in there too was something that was a little bit underrated from last week. So he starts from the back in that backup car for Charlotte, but the backup car for Charlotte was for Nashville. So it was like I heard that on the radio post race, like that was their. It was either that was their car or that was their backup car for Nashville. Well, the thing just went. For the first time since 1971, started last at Charlotte and won the race in the Coca-Cola 600. So to me, I thought that was a cool. I know Ross Chastain's chalky, but I feel like that nugget might have been a little, nice to know as well. And what really sold me on this pick. So it's got to be him.
I'm torn on what to do because I don't think this is the most obvious pick of the draft. And there's one that I just thought was going to be different and obviously wasn't. And I had mentioned that his teammate has the best average finish of that group in that package. So I'll ask you guys because my wild card is going to be a little different. I think it'll be different than Tino's. Can I change my RFK pick? Or does it have to stay Priest?
Ask the chat. Ask the chat if that's allowed.
Yeah.
Can my RFK pick be Busher instead of Priest?
Do we allow this? This is
to keep this a little less chalky.
Never been done before in the draft. Chat, let us know.
Let me know what they say. I think this is for the good of the game.
Hey, while we're potentially waiting on messages, we did get one from Brad here that I'll read it, and then Ryan, you can answer what you think. All right, here we go. All right, boys, I missed the first 15 minutes, but when you finish the draft, and we're doing it now, so Brad, for tuning in, we got you here. We need an opinion on Kyle Busch and trucks, Cup, what's going on, what's going to happen. I thought the contract extension and positivity was going to help in the 600. It didn't. I'm not a Kyle Busch fanboy, but it's nice to see a vet that's good for the sport have some good finishes. I completely agree. So, Ryan, what do you think is going on with Kyle Busch for Brad?
Well, it's weird. I was going to mention him later, but not for anything good. It's a team that's affiliated and doing better than him. I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, what is the answer there? Why is RCR so bad that both cars are just bad? I don't get it. It's like the only place he can show up now is Coda, which is just so weird. So I don't know. Or drafting tracks. I mean, he's been up there at those too. But man, it's been pretty bad. We're gonna get to Gateway soon. He's a good Gateway driver in this car for whatever reason. So I don't know.
I'm anxious to see him on Friday night. I think we might see a little bounce back from him in the trucks on Friday night. Heim's obviously the favorite. Yeah, he's got 2 starts at Nashville, and he's got 2 victories, I believe. So they're from a million years ago. But I know that he hasn't been the old Kyle Busch, but I think we might see a little more spark from him this Friday. I'm just kind of
that's a good nugget for Nashville.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So also the verdict is in. The chat has voted. Team 54 says change it. Who cares? Okay, fair.
All right, let's do it.
Brian said no. Brad said absolutely, and Robert said do it. So 3-1 vote. Chat.
All right, Chris Buescher
votes yes. Yeah.
All right, because I think my wild card will be different. It might be the same as Phil, but I don't think we're gonna all have the same one. I'm Ross Chastain here. All the reasons you guys mentioned, very obvious. One thing, if you heard his interview before the Charlotte race, before the Charlotte truck race, Like Trackhouse had this part of the schedule marked down. There's a reason he's going out there and running Xfinity this weekend. I mean, this is like they're here to get wins. They were here to get win last week. They actually did it. They're here to get another win here where they know he can win. So yeah, double duty. Give me Chastain here. I absolutely love it. Now, Tino, I'd like you to lead this wild card one off so you can't do your usual shenanigans and just play the same guy at the end. So let's see what you go with here.
Well, hey, hold on. Chase Elliott, different guy. Chase Elliott, different guy. You're right. But last week's strategy was different. I pulled it. Right. Yeah. I just had to.
All right, that's fine. No, that's fair. I can't shame you like that. You did it.
I want to see. I appreciate that. I want to see how one of you guys do in the last. To me, the last spot of the wild card round is the most valuable. The last 2 weeks, I've called my shot. Last week, I said Chase Elliott. This is what's gonna win me. This is how you draft, and it worked again. 2 in a row, wild card last spot. So I'm excited to see how one of you guys do.
I think Ryan and I have the same guy written down. I just have a feeling, but we'll see. Maybe.
I think we do. So, Tino, you're refusing to go right now?
No. I'll go. I just want. I'll go. Yeah. So, and I think I'm excited because this guy is a wild card. I wanted to note, Phil did say when he picked Chase Elliott, he's in a position where he needs finishes. I'm not. I understand. Like, hey, that's it. I got 7 wins. 7 wins is pretty nice. So now I think I can mix it up with a actual wild card, and I feel like confident doing that. I mean, I'm not gonna pick someone that is as obvious as Chase Elliott. I'm going with AJ Allmendinger in this one.
Oh my God, that's who we were taking. Are you
that's
serious?
Wild.
Hey, you gotta put it in.
Maybe I need to change.
No, that's fine though.
You gotta put that in.
I have a pivot. So that's crazy that you take it though. I guess we'll all have a lot to say about
it. It's an actual wild card though. Like it's not like I went.
Let's talk about him. Let's talk about him.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll get my sets in there, and I want to hear your guys as well. The main thing that stuck out to me was last year, although the 5 overtimes went from 28th to 11th, year before that, 19th to 10th. This is where if you're able to move up consistently through the field and have good track position like he did last week and hold it the whole race. I was so impressed by AJ last weekend. And he's a dog, so maybe, I shouldn't say impressed, but like it was the tip of the cap to see what he was able to do. Stay inside the top 10. It felt like all race at Charlotte. That's what sold me for him this week.
I will just mention, I don't know if I'm kind of scrambling in my head whether I'm going to take him or not. Oh, you already wrote me in. I didn't see that. Top 10 for AJ is frisky. Trying to see the best number that we can get on him. It was plus.
We took 350.
350 on DraftKings. Yeah, that's what I got. I just wanted to make sure it didn't update.
FanDuel released it at 550.
550?
Yeah,
wow,
people got that. That's long gone, but that was some of our guys got that.
9th in average finish, 13th at speed rating at this track. He's got 4 top 10s this year. 2 of them are on the comps. Like, this is a good situation for AJ, and the news where he was coming out like in the Cup Series next year. Jordan Bianchi posted that or whatever. That's just all good things for AJ. So
yeah,
I'll stick with him.
He wins the Xfinity race, comes to Cup, finishes top 10. Finishes both stages inside the top 10. And then, we have whatever it was last year. But last year, he finished 11th. And that's a good finish. I'd have to look more into if it was related to everything that happened at the end. I'm sure it was, because his average finish last year, or average running position, that's like over 10 spots better than where his average finish was in that package last year. That car was pretty bad last year.
He was running 32nd with 5 laps to go.
Yeah. I mean, that car was trash last year for whatever reason.
Damn.
But now it's like what we threw out with, who the hell were we talking about earlier where we did this? Just throwing
Priest,
out.
I think it was Priest with the 4th place last year.
Yeah. Just throw out, let's talk about what they're doing this year. So this year, through 7 races in this package, he's 6th best in true average running position. That's behind only Larson, Byron, Reddick, Hamlin, and Blaney. So that's right up there with these studs. 350 for a top 10 was stupid. I had missed out on some of the real valuable top 10s he hit earlier this year. So I just got this bad feeling that I've mushed this one for everybody because I actually got this one. But I don't know, man. I love AJ here. You don't have to stick with AJ for this pick. Do you want to pivot? You're already different elsewhere, but if you want to pivot, go ahead and pivot.
I will stick with AJ. After you go, there's a guy I'll mention as who I would have taken, but we'll
All right.
go ahead.
I'm now going to take a guy that I think you said you faded in a matchup, and I'm going to go with William Byron.
Yep. Okay.
Nice.
And it's strictly because he's going off last in qualifying, truly elite qualifier. I think I might be chippy up front to start this race, but I do think it still, might be pretty hard to pass. See, a lot of the guys who have led a lot of laps here have started top 5, in this Gen 7 car. And then when I pull up that chart that we had earlier, you just see him on the very top right, which means he's the fastest and gets the best finish in this package. So I think 7 races is a pretty decent sample size for what we've seen. You said they're bringing the same tires. It is concrete. I don't think he's been, great here. Like, he definitely has some better track history other places, but when we're just trying to be safe, and I got to be different here too. It feels like I haven't won in months. So give me William Byron. I'd feel silly not taking it, after showing that chart and where he is, and no one had him. Someone's got to take him. I'll take Byron. Who was your other pivot?
Yeah, it's funny. It probably should have been Byron. I kind of just discredited him in my mind. I don't know. I guess because I took him against in a head-to-head. But the guy that I was going to throw out there, maybe there's somebody in the chat that might like it because I won't jinx him since he's not officially on the roster. But how about Ty Gibbs?
Wow.
He is, relatively.
I thought you were going to go Briscoe. So same camp.
Similar situation. Well, okay. I could talk about Briscoe as well if you wanted, but we've got, some fast race cars at Nashville for Ty Gibbs. He's 12th in speed rating 2023, 7th last year. Not necessarily getting the finishes, 14th and 23rd respectively, but with him 7th in driver rating out of everybody. I believe, let me actually double check. Yeah. So he's very frisky and could be one of these guys at a track that is kind of out of left field. And you see Busher over Gibbs, max bet. But point being, for a last pick wild card deal, if he can, obviously I'm not going to question them having speed off the truck. It's just about them executing the race, which it always is now with these guys. So
yeah, we mentioned JGR, being really strong here. So
and Briscoe's another one you mentioned. I mean, Truex, their team was souped up here. Their team was fast. They didn't get good finishes, every race, but Briscoe kind of coming on strong now. That's a frisky one as well.
Yeah, I put a tweet out, and this is to say like Briscoe's been finishing really well. But so one of the examples of proving just how hard NASCAR is to predict, 7 races in the intermediate package. Chase Briscoe has the 4th best average finish, but the 18th best true average running position. Bowman has the 26th best average finish with the 7th best true average running position. So 2 guys that are just on a different trajectory there. I do think that Briscoe's been much faster though, and now he's going off late in qualifying, so maybe he'll be running up front and he'll be bringing more speed. Like we talked about with what Denny Hamlin said, getting up toward the front, you find your car just running so much better for you. Plus more time for him getting acclimated to a Toyota, which he said was a struggle for him to start the year.
We're at the point of the year now where a lot of us, I was one of them, was high on Briscoe to start the year. Well, now we have, the opportunity for him to really go on a run. So it's like kind of, okay, this is the spot. And if he fumbles, then it really is kind of a lost season. But if he can keep this momentum like a snowball going, I'm into it.
Awesome. Well, it should be a lot of fun. Like we said, there's a lot of things different about this. It's not a true 1.5. We have the concrete. It's just going to be, I don't know. I think it'll be fun to start the race. I really hope we see what we saw at the Coke 600. Night race, some passing, people moving through the field. I hope it's a fun one here. Tino, you got anything else you want to add?
Yeah, there's a comment in the chat that said, "Hey Tino, what kind of pizza do you want?" So I'm gonna say, some nice, probably stuffed crust, bacon, little pineapple on it. That's the Tino Patino special out there. So if they could get that for me, that'd be nice. But everything else sounded great. It was a great draft. I wish I could have been a little bit different than you guys. I thought my AJ Allmendinger one was kind of like a little tricky, but it's good to. Hey, one thing I can say is great minds think alike. So I want it to be a little bit different, but we're all locked in.
Yeah, like for us to all have AJ written down for the wild card, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's kudos to him.
Ultimate
and my team.
Mush City. So I had to change it. This is great. Now he can top 10. He's not on the board all the way across. There he is. He's gone. Only 2 out of 3.
Good work.
We still have hope. All right, Tino, I'll let you get back to it. I think you're celebrating your birthday, so why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and get the hell out of here.
Hey, well, I'm actually celebrating Phil's birthday because we have the same birthday. But yeah, you can find me at Tino PATTIGNO on Friday morning, 7:45 a.m. May repeat again throughout the weekend for 2B Series XM NASCAR Radio, my segments. Also on the radio as well. And everyone follow me. Did the road trip last weekend. It was awesome being in my car and documenting that. So you guys can follow me there to see some of that progression if you missed it. But yeah, it's where you can find me, and I hope you do so. Thank you.
Awesome. Phil, how about you?
Yeah, give me a follow at Full Tank Phil, Instagram and X, and Full Tank Phil's name of the pod. We'll have another truck video out this week. We got Friday Night Lights on this week as well. So the truck series just on a nonstop run right now on their schedule. So having a lot of good stuff going on. And looking forward to this race. This is for me, I said it on my pod. I kind of need to like wake up from the fog of the Coke 600 and the fun with all that, and like hunker down, get back to business here with Nashville. So hopefully we can keep the money coming in.
I think everyone was like, the entry list came out really late this week too. I mean, you have the holiday on Monday. It's like it takes everyone
slow.
That full extra day to recover.
That's right.
All right, awesome. You can find everything I do, Greg Mathern does, wintherace.info. Speed reads are out for all 3 series. That's all the data on the website, just put into one article, tiering all the drivers and highlighting all their best aspects that have to do with this upcoming race for them, package-wise, track-wise, everything, speed, you name it. Wintherace.info, check it out. And that's it. Good luck, everybody. Have fun watching the 3 races in Nashville. Trucks, Xfinity, Cup, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Good luck, and we'll see you next week.